Okay, am I live now? Hello everyone. How's it going? Let me just actually check if I am live or not first. Okay, all right. Okay, I believe there is some problem with my system then, because when I can actually see this one. Uh, okay, all right. But I can't actually take, like I just can't see the screen where exactly the link of this video is, because I don't see anywhere it like. Please share the link here for the YouTube's, YouTube link for interacting with the students. I just can't seem to find the video on the channel either. Like, okay, thank you. I'm live now. Okay, 14 watching right now. Hello everyone. How is it going? So let's actually get started. Where we actually left. Okay, what happened? Nothing happened. I'm actually having some, I'm having a little bit of viral and a flu. Like, okay, sorry. Okay, so yeah, and not in good shape. Like my eyes are totally red right now. So that is why I'm actually not turning on my camera right now. Okay, but yeah, we'll be still moving on. Okay, so I believe you must have actually gotten the mm, like this the file, right? If not, please let me know in the chat. Okay, not, please let me know in the chat if you got the file or not. Like, there's some issue with my system though. I don't know why it is not working. Uh, uh, have you gotten the file, right? Okay, take care. Okay, all right. So yeah, let's just get started with this. So I believe that's where we actually left yesterday, right? Uh, 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 okay. So today, what we will be covering is this part. Like, let me actually remove the smartphone spider.py because it is not relevant anymore. But we actually did have somewhat fun with this. Okay. And now what we need is we will going to cover a bunch of things here. Pipeline items. We already covered the settings. I believe middleware actually comes with the proxies though, and I don't think that will be possible for like. Let's just see what happens because we have a lot to cover today. Okay, like the database stuff and how exactly you can store the database with the SQLite by scraping off from the internet and directly putting the entire data set into the you know .db files. All right, and let me just remove these files as well because doesn't make any sense. Okay, so let's get started. So I hope you people have learned whatever we actually covered, or you revisioned it, right? So this is our file that we had yesterday, right? And let's me actually remove this. And now what exactly I want to create a pipeline, right? And what do I mean by the pipeline? Like, I need to check if this is correct or not. First, actually, let me go to the link first. Okay, right. Okay, now what I want this quote here. I want the author and the tags here. All right, how you can do that? Like, it's quite trivial and simple. You can actually either choose this tool that we covered yesterday. Just tap on it, and afterwards the each of the class that actually represents it is .text. Okay, so this is what I'm going to copy here, and from this div.quote. So this is actually quite spot on, but I don't want the first element though. I want each and every element. So I'm going to remove first from our code. Okay. Same goes for the author. All right. What do we have for the author? Let's just check. This is for the author. Okay. And this is dot author. So I'm just going to remove this as well and put in here like the author. Last but not the least are tags. Okay, div A, div B, like these are the values of the tags here. Okay, let's just check what we have, like dot tag. That's it. Like if I actually clear everything up again, so the moment I actually hover over any tag, what value do I get? Dot tag, right? So let's just check. Yeah, they are actually calling it out, but we actually, if you remember, we wrote this code with the help of, not with the help of, but GitHub Copilot wrote the entire code itself. So now we are actually fixing it up. Okay, so let's just actually run the entire class of our spider first, and let's just see what we get here, right? So Scrappy crawl, and then what is the spider's name here? Quotes. All right, so now what we have, like it is working perfectly fine, I believe. There are the only two ways to live your life, like, and it was actually said by the author Albert Einstein, and the tags are inspirational, life, miracle, and miracles, whatever. Okay, these are these. Okay, okay, so it is quite working. All right, but what about, like, what if we actually have, like, this is a jargon that we can't read. Okay, like what if we can have a better structured way to read the entire information the moment we actually scrap it out, and tunnel the entire information in a better way, so we can read it out really well, and also can structure the entire information in a really well structured manner, basically. Okay, so let's just see. So that's where the items.py file comes in. Okay, so what it does, like, we can just define here the way they have actually defined the fields for your item that we actually wants to scrap from our website. Okay, so let's just say if I want to actually scrap the title, I believe it was the code though. Okay, so right now I actually want to scrap the code here, so I would name it code, right? The next thing that I can name here right now is like the author scrappy dot field, right? And the last but not the least is the tags scrappy dot field. Okay, and I'm just going to remove this pass because right now we are defining the fields. What exactly is happening, guys? We are just structuring the web information that we are scraping from the website in a better manner. Okay, you will just gonna see in a while. Okay, but if you are not aware of what I am going to do right now, so you might actually want to check out any object oriented tutorial on the internet. Okay, so I'm going to perform some of what I say, like I'm just going to import this item class here to my spider, this code spider. All right, so let's just call it out, let's just import it here. So how can I do that? From items, import code items, right? That's what I can do if I just remove this here. So again, if I actually go into here, quotes item, so this is what the class name is. So what I am doing, and if we actually see, our spider is our spider's path is right now here. So if we actually go from one directory above, that's where we can actually find this item module, or the items.py file, right? So first dot for the current directory, two dots to actually remove, to actually get out of the current directory and look for the items module, and that's where we are actually importing our course item class, right? Is it clear or not? Please let me know in the chat if it is clear or not. uh, okay, all right, okay, no issue, no questions whatsoever. All right, so yeah, so let's actually call this item here. How can I do that? Simple. Items is equals to what? quote items, quotes items, sorry. And now what I need, it actually works as a dictionary. If you have actually worked with the dictionaries in Python, so what we can do with the dictionaries, when we have any element, let's just say text, I can call it text, and I can just call it quote dot css, basically this value. So I'm just going to just going to copy it up from here and just going to paste it out here. All right, and then I need the author value here. Okay, dot css, and afterwards this dot author class. Let me just copy paste this here, and lastly this tag one. All right. Okay, and now what I can do, I just simply can do sorry, items of what we say first, text is equals to text, and I'm just going to copy paste it out two times. What is the next, author, and the next is what we say, tags, right? And instead of actually yielding this entire value, I can just simply yield the items. And I believe like this structure is much more readable, right? And let us see the output as well, what output that we are getting. Okay, and let's just see. Okay, it worked well, it worked really well. No, there is an error. What exactly I defined there? I actually defined the quote instead of text. So you guys can see, if you actually don't define the exact field here, if I actually defined here like quote. Okay, so what I need to define here, quote instead of text. That's why I'm actually getting the error. So the fields has to be the same. The field has to be the same as we are processing the information from, where the okay, from where we are actually getting the information from, like from the website basically. Okay, so let's again crawl this up. Now this time we should not get any errors. Yeah, we did not. Okay, so now you can actually see like this is much more structured way. If you actually see this, let me just go in here. Okay, so now you can see like from here, Albert Einstein, the author, quote is this, and the tags are these. Okay, same for the J.K. Rowling, right? So we did actually manage to structure the entire pipeline according to according to our needs, like the item. Sorry, not the pipeline. We haven't covered the pipeline, but the item only. All right. And now, okay. So is it clear, or like it was quite straightforward, right? Like we didn't do anything special. We just defined three fields here. Okay. And afterwards, what we did, we just hold the we just imported the class here, and then created the instance of that class. That's what we do in the oops. And afterwards we have item code, next, author, and tags respectively. And now we are yielding it out. Like yielding is yield basically helps you to create a generator in Python, right? The same actually can be done with the, when you actually want to create a say a custom range function, right? If you haven't, like, you should actually try it out. Just create a custom range function with the yield. Then that way you might be having a better idea how exactly yield differs from the return. Okay, so it helps you to create a generator. All right. So okay, okay, so I believe this is actually clear, right? Because it wasn't, you know, that much of complex. Okay, so next thing that we can actually see is this, the pipelines. All right. So before actually diving into the pipelines, why do we actually need it in the first place? Let's say you have actually scraped the data from the internet, and you might actually want to store that data into a format. Let's say for the SQLite, MongoDB, or MySQL. Okay, and in that case you might even want to restructure your data while you are processing it. Like you get actually, let's say, uh, a value called a value as integer for, let's say, 15, and you might actually want to truncate that value, let's say, or normalize that value in the range of 0 to 1. So that's where what you can do, after retrieving the information, you can just you can just perform some sort of operations or data manipulation techniques in this pipeline itself. Okay, let's actually see that in much more action. Okay, so let me actually define it like I am pipeline. Okay, and I'm just going to say item, right? Item actually. Okay, and let me again run this command. Okay, you might have a better idea what I am saying. Okay. Mm, okay. All right. It didn't give us any output. So for the reason was like we did not what we say. Yeah, there it is. We did not activate the pipelines. Okay. So to activate the pipelines, what you need to do, you need to get into the settings.py file. Then you just need to uncomment this item pipelines, codes pipeline.code pipeline. Right. If you actually see, this is our codes and pipelines. Okay, and where exactly it is pointing to, codes pipeline, right? So, and this 300 is basically like I believe has more to do with the time request or something. I don't remember exactly, but that's how you actually activate it. Okay, like basically how exactly when you have a pipeline, so you just can activate it by uncommenting it here. Okay, and you can also define multiple pipelines as well. Not so issue, no, there are no issues for that. Okay, so let's say right now we have the pipeline name codes pipeline. You could have a different pipeline, let's say for author pipeline. So what you can do, you just let's say this, sorry, I just copy this up and paste it here, and I could have an author pipeline. Okay, and afterwards what I can have is this, like instead of having this, I could have codes.pipeline dot author pipeline. Okay, like I believe you got the gist, right? So that we, but we won't be delving into the multiple pipelines right now, but the simple ones. Okay, okay, so that is your codes pipeline. So since I have actually activated the pipeline, why don't we actually again run the command scrappy crawl codes, and let's just see if we get that value or not. All right. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, all right, so I believe you can actually see here I am pipeline, and afterwards we are getting author and ray, like gide whatever the name is. Okay, I am pipeline, then again the author. Okay, let's actually define the each and every value here as well. Okay, so why don't we actually take only the tags here, so we can have like item of tags, right? And then again call this method up, and I actually want the tags here, and let's just see if we get the tags or not. I believe we should. Tags, I'm pipeline, and we are getting the tags here, right? Life and love, life, and I am pipeline addition, right? So that way what exactly is happening right now is we are taking the values from the items.py. Okay, then we are processing that entire information in the pipeline, and then again when spitting it out with the crawling, the moment we actually crawl it, like, okay, so all right, during the output phase basically. Okay, so let's actually create this entire pipeline to help you to store the data into the SQLite. Okay, and let's just see how exactly we can even create a SQLite database in the first place. Okay, so how many of you actually worked with the SQLite? I would love to know about it. Is there anyone who actually worked with the SQLite here? You can't hear me, really? Am I audible, Paridi? Am I audible? People are saying like Gayatri is saying can't hear you. So am I audible or not? Mm-mm. Please let me know in the chat. No? Yes, you are audible. Hariharan, why did you say no then? If I'm audible. Okay, yes, audible. Thank you. All right. So that's how you can actually take your items and process that entire information in the pipeline. So before actually diving into the pipeline, okay. So what we can do here, why don't we actually create an SQLite database, okay, and then uh, first actually let me just create the SQLite database. Then we will going to create the same SQLite database with the help of codes pipeline. Okay. So I'm just going to create a simple database.py file, and let me actually define that py file somewhere around like this web scraping class itself. Okay, and source env bin activate. Okay, and vim database.py. Okay, I hope it is actually visible somewhat. Import SQLite tree, right? And then what we do for the SQLite, first we actually make a connection, right? So SQLite.connect. Let's actually check for the test.db. Okay. Then we have a next thing is cursor, SQLite.cursor, right? What exactly usually happens, like we usually define a connection for, like I am giving it a name for my SQLite database as test.db. Okay. And I am creating just like simply, and SQLite 3 actually comes along, by default with the Python. So you don't really have to worry about the installation part here. So what I'm doing, SQLite.connect. If the file if it is not available, it will going to get created. Okay, the this command will going to create this file. Okay, and after that, in this file, and what we can do, we just can define a table, right? So let's just actually do that. Mhm. Okay. All right. So let's actually do that. So let me actually bring up the SQLite docs as well, so you can have a better, Python. There you go. Okay. So let's just, I'm just going to follow up with the docs. Okay. That's what I most of the time do. Okay. Firstly, because of my always love for the documentation, and secondly, for the curse of not remembering anything out of it. And that's what I always prefer. Okay. So let's actually see that in action. Like we have already created the cursor. Now the next step is to create a table, right? That's what we need to do. So what we can do next is, sorry, cursor dot execute. Okay. And what next we can actually execute is this. We need to pass on three strings, like 3 by 3 strings. Okay. And create a table. And in this case, why don't we actually create a simple table, or let's say students. But first, actually, let me know how many of you actually have worked with the SQLite. Is there anyone who actually have worked with a SQLite or any relational database? Is there anyone else? Please let me know in the chat. Okay. Not the capital though. Let's just actually create with the student simple one. Okay. And then afterwards, what we will gonna do is just come in here, and we'll just going to pass on some info here. Let's just say name. Okay, name has a type of text, and let's just say roll number. It could be a type of quantity, could be real, but let's just actually stick to the text again. Okay, because we can always represent any quantity or any entity into text. Okay, all right. So now we have executed this, and we should be getting this test.db here. Okay, not yet though. And now let's just actually also fill in some values. Okay, so cursor, sorry, cursor dot execute insert. Okay, insert into, not like that though, insert into, and whatever the value we have, like into what the database table name we have, students. Okay, and next thing that we want to insert are the values basically, right? And the values are like, let's just say name could be, let's say, Gopal. Okay, but it has to be in the single quotes. Okay, not into the double one. And next could be roll number. Let's say my roll number was 17. Okay, and now next thing that what we need to do, basically saving up the commit, not like that, but con.commit, right? That's what they are doing. And afterwards, let's just close the connection. Okay, I believe it is quite clear, like by now. Okay, it's what it was quite easy. Okay, so I have worked with the, yes sir. Yeah, great then. Like it won't be that much of a hard thing then, right? So let's actually execute this first. So I'm just going to wq and python 3, and what we have is here database.py, and we should be getting a dot. So if you actually notice here, we have test.db here, right? And let me actually open up with the Sublime here to actually make you see this test.db. Initially, we didn't have the test.db. You can see like in this one. Okay, what just happened? Why it is actually okay? Why I can't actually see the? All right, it is not letting me see that option. Okay, so I do have a DB browser as well to actually view the data. Okay, so let's open up the data now. Web scraping, SDB. All right. So we do have some information here, right? Name and text, but I don't see values though. I don't know why. Mm, let me just actually bring up this command here, Python 3. Okay, and import SQLite 3. Right, and from that, what we can do, we can make a connection to our this part first, right? Paste it here, and instead of example.db, we can do test.db. Okay, and afterwards we can just pass on this cursor here. Okay, and then print the rows. Okay, so select everything from students. Okay, and let me just actually copy this as well. Okay, I want to check why we did not get any values from there. Like select everything from students, and we don't want to order by anything here. Select, let's say, name from students, print row. Okay, we got the Gopal value here, but I don't know why we are not getting the any values from there. It's quite weird, but you can see like we succeeded in creating a database with simple commands basically. Okay, so why don't we actually implement entire this thing into our scrappy pipelines, so we could have our database saved directly into our what uh, into our SQLite database. Okay, so let's actually do that. All right, so that will be quite easy. So first thing first, like what we need to do initially, if I actually have to define the process here, define create table, pass on. Like I'm just actually defining the create connection, I believe. Okay, pass on this as one. Define store DB. We need to store the database as well. So store DB, right? Wow. What else do we need? Okay. And the moment we actually define it, what we can do in it, right? Oh, sorry. What we can do, we need to create the table. Okay. And then afterwards, what we need to do, create the connection. Basically, that's what we need to do. This is your skeleton that I believe, like what we will gonna need. Okay. And it should actually take the store actually should take the item as well. Okay, because whatever the item that we will gonna store should be passed on to the store DB, where we will going to run our what uh, that command, like dot commit one. Okay, uh, all right, so let's actually do that. So for creating the table, what we can do, first we need to pass on a connection. Okay, SQLite dot connect. Wow, it's why it is actually giving me codes DB. Okay, but I haven't imported anything yet, so let's actually import first SQLite 3. So and for that, like let's just say my data.db. All right, and we will be needing this connection into our create connection as well. Okay, self dot connect. Okay, next what we need is a cursor. Okay, so self dot connection dot cursor, that's what we need. Now we have those. What we can do, like people who don't know object oriented programming, they might actually see this as somewhat confusing. So I will actually going to explain. Let me just write the entire code first. Okay, and how exactly I'm writing the code as well, like I just took the inspiration from this part. Like it was quite straightforward, and I just divided the entire process into three steps, where first I will be creating the database, then creating the table, then creating the connections. We have already created the connection though. Okay, create database, I believe, should be the next thing here. Okay, sorry for that. And this is what we need, create database. Okay, because this is what we need now. All right, and afterwards what we need here is this self dot execute. Okay, 1 2 3. Okay, so what we need first, create table, if not exist. All right, it's weird. Okay, create table. And what we can tell, like if it is actually going to exist, it should not give us any error. Okay, so what I actually usually do for this sort of error handlings, I usually define dot execute drop table if exist, and whatever the table name that we were going to say, let's say quotes tb, quotes, quotes db, right? Now what we need to do, create the table. Okay, and what is the table name here is quotes db, right? And afterwards what we need here, like what we saw here, these values basically, right? So let's just actually pass on some of the values here, not here but here. Okay, so first value could be what? Text. I believe that's what we are saving up. Text, author, and tags. Wow. So the recommendation that I am getting right now here is from the Google, sorry, GitHub Copilot. Okay. So the what it does, like it just checks out my code from every module and sees what I have defined yet, and it recommends me something. But it is quite powerful. So we should also check this out, right? So we just did this part, and afterwards what we need to do, and we just simply can store the database as well. How exactly we can do that? It's quite easy, right? So let me just pass on this here, self dot cursor dot execute. Okay. Okay, and what we need is next the insert into, right? That's what I need. The values quotes dby values. Okay, now it is actually giving us great recommendation what I need to pass on the values to. Okay, and this is actually what we need to give in, like quotes db. That's our database name. Then the values, and values afterwards what we are saying, like we are not sure what values we are going to get, so that's why you know this part. Then again triple quotes, comma, and what values we will going to pass on in this entire you know question mark section. So the values will be from here. Okay, so the text will be item dot text, author will be item dot author, and tag will be item dot tag. Okay, and now what I need to pass on here, text, author, and tags, right? And close the bracket. Quite, you know it's quite a relief when you have such thing. Sometimes, like, just don't have to type on, just keep on typing, and it actually also reduces the typing error as well, like if you actually notice, like. Okay, so yeah, we are storing up the database. So last thing that we need to do, I believe, we need to comment this out. Okay, and all right, there you go, we have the comment section as well. Okay, and initially we actually took the first values, like the zeroth. Okay, all right, and now what we need to do is, like, we are calling it out. Okay, storing up. Okay, and now what I need to do is just simply tags, and then I not text though, text and author, and then what I exactly need, this storing the database here, self dot store database. Okay, and item. Okay, that's what we need actually, and we can just remove this right now, and neither we need this. Okay, I think we are good to go. Okay, it should actually create a my data.db. So what exactly we did here, let's just actually remove this as well, like, because we don't need it. Okay. And yeah, like, let me check if there are people who are having any sort of issues. Okay, no. All right, so yeah, let's just actually call this out now. Okay, scrappy crawl codes, boom. Okay, now you can see, like, my data.db has been created, but we do have a error, I believe. Key error text. Key error text, I don't remember if it is. What the hell, why would I do that? Okay, the key error is text because it is not text here, guys. It is quote or quotes. Let me actually see again, because I don't want to do it over and over. It's quote. Okay, and now let me again remove this database. Okay, and afterwards what you can do, again rerun this crawler. Okay, now again we have an error, I believe. Mm, okay, I don't know why it is actually giving us an error. Let me actually check this out. uh, Okay, why it is giving us error here? Item. All right. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, so we are creating the table. We are creating the database. Right. Then cursor here. Okay, and then afterward we are just creating the table. Where exactly we are getting wrong? Like, okay, what is the error here? Parameter 0 error, binding interface error. Okay, okay. Mm, just a sec, guys. Okay, let me check this out. Well, how exactly we created the value? Like, I believe we had 0 here, right? So we could extract the first value. Let me again check this out and see if it actually going to work or not. That's how we actually created that, right? Again, run this, and hopefully it doesn't give us any error now. Nope, it did not. Yeah, that was actually the issue. So the problem was like we were just storing out some bunch of, I believe, the extra information like that wasn't required here. Like I do remember getting into an error like it wasn't callable. So to make it callable, I just extracted the first element of the text. That is why I put the 0 here. Okay. And if you actually see here, we don't have any errors anymore. All right. And let's actually see that if we do have like Python free import SQLite free, and let's make a connection SQLite free dot connect with what my data dot db. Okay, and we need a cursor now. Cursor. Okay, for row and cursor dot execute select. We can say right now. Let's just say text from the name was of the DB was what? I don't know. Quotes DB. Quotes DB. Okay. Print row. All right. So you can see we successfully stored the database as well with the help of this like okay, with the help of SQLite command basic. Okay, so yeah, so we are pretty much like done with the pipelines as well. I believe you can also do the same with the MySQL, but the commands will going to be different. And also for the MongoDB, I believe Scrappy does support Scrappy database save. Okay, right. Okay, I don't know if they actually do support it or not. All right, but I don't think like they do have it. Like document in terms of documentation, sorry, like not in terms of support. They do have the support. Okay, and like just actually excuse me for what I am saying right now. Like I'm totally not in my perfect shape. Okay, so yeah, they do support the MySQL and also the MongoDB. All right, so that is how we can actually also save the database as well. So are there any questions for me till yet? Like we have been, studying about like this entire thing for last 45 minutes. So are there any questions for me? You guys have it for me? Any questions? Nope. Like, okay then. If not, we can actually proceed. I believe so, right? So if like I can wait for next 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. Until then, I can actually also drink some water. Hmm. If you people have any questions, even to the regarding to assignments, which is the suitable database for Python scraping? Like it is quite a vague question to ask honestly, because what do you mean by the suitable in the first place? If you are actually working with some production environment where MySQL is needed, so suitable database will be what? MySQL in that case. Okay. And if you are actually working with MongoDB, then same goes for the MongoDB my statement. Okay. So it depends from one use case to another. You just can't have one single sorry, one single statement like it will be suitable or not. It depends upon the application that you are working on, or in which format you want to store the database in. Okay. Where I can find the assignment, I believe it is in community group. Okay. Community tab. All right. That's where you can actually find the assignment. Okay. Any more questions? I can wait for 6:50. Okay. If not, like I will going to start from 6:50 again, like where whatever we have not covered. Okay. Mm, 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 mm. No. Okay. So we have to use database for assignment to store COVID cases. No. Just simply type in the code and you should be good to go. Okay. All right. So let's just see actually another thing. So I'm going to ask you some question here. Okay. Because this is what I can do today. All right. So let's actually move into the next page as well, because this is what we haven't covered yet. Okay. And it's quite easy if you actually focus upon this. So let me just actually bring up the inspect tool here. Okay. And can anyone tell me what exactly here what we need? Like the class is here next. Okay. And what we need the attribute here as? Can anyone tell me in the chat what attribute do we need here? Anyone? What attribute do we need here in order to press the next? Anyone can tell me? What we need here, like to in order to press this button? Can anyone actually tell me what we need here? Like I'm asking you a question, like what we need here in order to press this button? What attribute do we usually need? Just simple question. Next. Li. Okay. I'm asking about the attribute though. Okay. Href, I believe. How many of you know about the hrefs? href. Do you guys know about the href? href, I'm asking about the href. How many of you know about the href? I believe you must have actually taken the Let's Upgrades, lot of Bootstrap, and like we have already covered a lot of classes here, right? For HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. Okay, so if not, like you should be taking those, right? Yes, right. So what we can do here instead, why don't we, like, it could be a task for you guys, but uh, like but we are pretty much done, so why not we actually do something like this here, like, okay, let me just call it up here. And what I want to go to the next page now. How can I do that? It's quite easy. So for the next page, what I need here, like in this parsing method itself, what I can do is first I need this css selector here, right? So what I can do here is simple next page. Let me just name it next page. Okay. And afterwards, how do we actually define this CSS selector? Response.css. Okay. And but not this though. Afterwards, what we need here, li dot next. Right. If you actually notice here, li dot next, and then afterwards the href, what we need to grab on to, like a, instead of text we need the attribute now. Okay, and what exactly the attribute what we need here? I believe it is the href. Okay, and then get. Right. So instead of actually doing it here, why don't we actually see that in here, like in the items though, but not in the items. For that, I have to actually restructure the entire code, and I'm somewhat not in that straight to doing it. Like, let's just actually see if we actually get the page or not. If we do get the page, what we need to do, yield yield response. I believe they do have a follow method here. Like, I only can believe. And to the next page. Okay. And until we actually follow till the last page, we will just going to call back this function over and over, this parse method. Okay. So call back this. What we can do here is the simple self dot parse. Believe this should be good to go. Okay. And yeah, I believe this is what we need here. Okay. And let's actually define this. Like, let me actually see that in action. Like, do we have same thing for the next here? Like, we have here next again. I'm going to inspect it out, and yeah, we have the next command, and I want to grab this href here. Yeah, we should be good to go then. Okay, so let me just scroll quotes hyphen o test.json. I want, or instead of csv, yeah, you can also store the information into .csv, .json, and xml files as well. Okay, not so issue, no issues. So let me just scroll out the values here. Okay, let's see what we can get here. Yeah, you can see here, right? It's getting over and over till we get the each information. Whoa, this was actually bang on. Okay, so yeah, we even there you go, test.csv, and we have quotes, tags, and every value of this value. And why don't we actually read this information as well? How can we do that? It's quite easy. First, let me pip install pandas. How many of you know about the pandas? Is there anyone who knows about the pandas? Yeah, people do know about the pandas. Great. Okay. So we're just going to read this information out. That's what we will gonna do. So Python free. Okay, import pandas as pd dot data read csv. Okay, and what the name of the file is here? Test dot csv. Okay, now you can see we do have like not the this much of file. Like let me actually df dot head. Okay, so now you can see like we have author, we have tags, but we can't see what. Why not? We actually see the columns here though. Quote. Okay, so df dot quote. We also have the quote mechanism, like quote column here as well. Like you guys can you imagine like you just scrapped the 96 quotes with just a single spider. Like wait a minute, not like that. We just added simple line here. What it was like, we were just looking for the next page, and I want to call it out till where we reach the next page or last page in that case. Okay, and like it was quite easy, right? Just got the next page. If we are getting the next page, follow it up over and over and over, right? So people who didn't get this, please let me know in the chat. I will going to respond to those questions. And like it was quite interesting as well for me. Like honestly, I just read about this matter and I implemented it right away. Okay, and yeah, it is working like because the documentation is quite clear. Okay, and that is why I'm a huge fan of documentation. Okay, so this is your data, and that like you can also save the same data not only with the CSV but also with the XML, I believe, right? So let's actually see till we actually get entire web page. What do you mean by Hariharan entire web page? Okay, now we have XML file as well. Basically, it helps you to site mapping files that we say sometimes. Okay, so yeah, it's quite good. So what else? What we can do here? Hmm, yeah, there will be a good task for you guys, so be prepared for today's assignment. Like okay, I will going to ask you to scrap the images till like 5 or 10 pages of any Amazon item of your choice. Okay, I will going to jot it down in the comment section itself with the code. Okay, so we are actually pretty much done with the scrappy as well. Like yesterday I told you guys, like not so much is left with the scrappy though. This is the actually the main part of course the pipeline, of course the items that we covered, and how exactly we can store that information into the database as well. It does matter, and we did. And also we saw the mechanism of how we can actually reach to the last page of any website, right? So we did. Okay, and yeah, like you should be having a good understanding of how you can do some of your own stuff with the scrappy as well. Okay, so if you do have any questions, please ask. Entire web page scrapping. I don't know what you are saying again, Hariharan. Okay, so yeah, like we are pretty much done with the scrappy though. Like totally done. Like this is all you all I believe you need to know. Okay, and even for the assignment that I'm going to push for you, and if there will be something additional, I will be adding the code snippet for that. Don't worry. And yeah, you can now ask me question for next 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I will be taking questions, and then I will be ending the stream. Okay. Yes, sir. I will definitely humbly share the code with you. And please be available in the machine learning session as well. I'll be taking session at 8. Okay. So whoever are here, people, please be there as well. We'll be seeing the code part. What we covered in the theoretical manner, we'll be seeing that in entirely into the coding part now. Okay. So we covered like what we have covered till now. We saw request module, we saw beautiful soup, we saw afterward we saw XML, then CSS selectors, Scrappy. We saw Scrappy for 2 days straight. And I think now you must be having a good understanding of what we do in the web scraping though. Okay, like this is what we do. Like now you can store the information in SQLite, also in SQL, also in CSV file, XML file, and even in the JSON file. Okay, so now like it shouldn't be a big deal for you guys. Okay, right? Definitely scrappy. I don't know what do you mean by that, Hariharan. Okay, okay then. So we are pretty much done with the scrappy. We are pretty much done with the you know uh, web scrapping as well. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, I would like to end this session now, and I will going to come back here for the machine learning part. We will be we will be seeing the entire machine learning process into the real world, like how we exactly perform all the theoretical part, and we will be building a somewhat robust model, a regression model. Okay. And just to let you know, the same process can be done apart from the metrics and something like the data analysis process will going to be the same for the classification as well. So please don't be absent there. Okay, in the 8 p.m. session. All right. Every message I send, I reach you after 5 minutes. Okay. Thank you. Good session. Thanks, Hariharan. All right. Okay then, guys. Thank you so much for joining in, and I'll see you in the next session for the machine learning. Okay. Bye bye.